have to.
You think this one will have as much traction?
You think this is a shit episode, Jordan? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Shit.
You think this idea is just nothing to you? That's
I just think
okay. I'm just kidding. That's fine. Today we're going to be talking about the biggest action figure scam that I think either one of us have ever seen in the Facebook groups. It involves like the scammer and his wife. They team up and they just rip everybody off. So stay tuned and let's talk about it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota, here with my co-host, Jordan. And today, like I said, we are talking about probably the biggest action figure scam I've ever seen in the Facebook groups. And it's not necessarily big in the way that it was like they stole a lot of money, which they did steal.
We don't really know, though, do we?
That's very true. I don't think we do know the like final number of what they stole, but it's just like the most convoluted, like they planned this out.
I'd say the most intricate.
Yeah.
The most intricate scam I've ever encountered.
Right.
Personally.
So we'll kind of talk about this scam that they pulled off, or they did pull it off, because I'm sure, I don't know, maybe some people are going to be able to recoup some of their money, but I doubt all of it. But then we'll talk about some of the ways that we got scammed in the past and how we handled it, and then some ways to prevent yourself from getting scammed. So I don't know. I usually, whenever I'm looking at folks in the groups and they want to like trade or do things like that, I'll look back and see when they first joined the groups, because if they just joined like yesterday, that's a red flag. So right. I was wondering with this guy, this William Griffin, we'll name drop him, if he was
Should we dox him? Is that allowed?
I don't even know what that means.
Like he releases personal info.
Oh, like I don't have his personal info. Doe. Gotcha.
I mean, like he even put his name out. I don't know.
His name's out. You can, I mean, if you want to go look him up in the Facebook groups, if you're in them, you can, I'm sure you've maybe even seen this. But this was in the Collector Castle group. If you're not in that one, they do a lot of like live giveaways. So if you're into that, or not giveaways, but like live sales. So I went back and I was like, how long has this guy been in here for? I couldn't see when he actually joined the group, but his first post that he had made was May 21st. So not
of this year?
New. Of this year, I think. So not brand new, but also, you know, he'd been in there. He'd commented, like there was several posts, like looking to sell figures, looking to buy figures. But then,
oh man, this raises so many questions.
So then we get into a post that he had made. He just, I don't know if it was like a story or what, but he just like probably went through some of those live sales, and during those sales you just like say like, oh, I claim that action figure for this much that you said it was, and then they kind of put it aside and you send them the money and then they ship it out to you. So he made a post saying, for any claims that I've made, I will start on them as soon as I can. Gunshot to my chest was more serious than they thought. Not sure how I'm going to pay these medical bills. So, I mean,
okay, just to weigh in, I did not see that until today, actually.
Right. I don't think I did either. Or, well, I did after the next post that I read.
Right.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the next post was from his account. Let's see. But it's supposedly from his wife. And this was on July 30th. So it says, "Hello, my name is Beth. I'm reaching out because William passed away this afternoon. I know he loved this group. I'm posting to see if he has any payments on things, and then just kind of like I'll settle up on any of his debts. I kind of want to get this finalized for funeral costs. If you want to help us out in any way, here's a link to our PayPal. We appreciate it, but don't feel obligated." It got quite a big reaction from the group of like, everybody's like reaching out like, oh, sorry for your loss, our condolences, yada, yada. And then today I open up Facebook, and I'm pretty sure he's like the main admin, like he started the group and runs it. He's always running the sales and stuff. Kyle puts on their announcement. This was all a scam. He didn't die. Him and his wife were in this together. So they're trying to work on getting folks that maybe sent them PayPal because, people, like, we're a pretty good community. I mean, like, there's some parts that can be some toxic stuff, but,
Yeah.
if a fellow collector is in need, when people can help, they do. And then they were taking advantage of that. So what were your thoughts there, Jordan?
Well, yeah, what I was going to say is I saw the, like, hey, my husband died post.
Yep.
And I don't know, like, to me, I guess that seemed so, like, kind of out there. Like, I've never seen anybody try that. So I
Yeah.
obviously didn't give any money, but I was like, oh, that's
Mhm.
sad. Like, I figured maybe there was some kind of, like, because I've seen in some groups that where, like, a member either has an illness or, something's going
Mhm.
on and they pass away and people are like, yeah, that's really sad. And, he was a big part of the community or something. So I guess I like scrolled past that and was like, oh, it's a bummer, but I didn't ever have any dealings with him.
Mhm.
But I think if I'd seen the that he was shot, like, I probably would have been like, wait a minute, that
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that could be possible, but even today I read a comment where he's like, I was walking down an alley and a mugger came up and I got in the way between my wife and him. Like,
Mhm.
what is this, like? Yeah, like Thomas Wayne,
Right.
like that to me would have been kind of weird.
So yeah, that was a bit. It's not impossible. So I think that's what
No,
everybody kind of
it's
like.
yeah.
It's believable enough that you feel bad for the person, and like also why would somebody do this in a Facebook group? But like, and it seemed like they were just trying to get out of those claim sales that they had made, so that they didn't have to pay off whatever action figures they were trying to buy.
So he was the one buying. He wasn't selling.
Correct.
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah.
Because for some
Because
reason I thought the scam was him saying I sold all this stuff on a claim sale and now I can't deliver type thing.
oh
Maybe I understood it wrong.
yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
it
I
could have
didn't.
been both ways though. I mean, either
Right.
way,
Yeah.
it
And
was clearly like a planned. I
right.
mean, he would have had to have
Yeah.
like joined the group. Oh, sorry, I just turned 12. He would have had to join the group to yeah, that would have been like a planned, like, build a rapport
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Or
and
it's just
make.
like he joined and was like thinking he was gonna do everything like everybody else, but then I kind of like we did when we first got back into collecting. You kind of go a little bit harder, and you're kind of just buying up everything you see you want it all. And I guess instead of him being like, oh, actually, I can't like buy all these claims that I've made, just shoot, that looks bad on me now. But instead he like cooked up this whole scam. That almost seems less likely that somebody and their wife, unless he just, I guess maybe it doesn't even involve his wife. He just says like, hey, I'm Beth, and
That's true.
blah blah
He could
blah.
have just made that up. I mean, either way, it's a pretty crazy, crazy strategy. Um, but yeah, I do wonder how much people gave on PayPal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, I mean, you can't, especially if you give friends and family, you
Mm-hmm.
can't necessarily get that money back. But if they sent it goods and services, then it should be easy enough to get their money back. But
I've
I
always
mean, I'm
wondered
sure.
how that works because I guess we can talk about this when we talk about being scammed, but
Yeah.
kind of how that plays out.
So yeah, let's
Um,
let's segue into our where we've been scammed. So like, I'm sure you've probably been scammed in the groups, right, Jordan? Or maybe on
yeah,
eBay or
I've
something.
had. Yeah, I guess eBay. I had somebody try to scam me, sort of, but I've had like two probably major, like, hey, this guy kind of ripped me off here.
Mm-hmm.
First one was kind of early. You remember we had a Canadian friend
Oh yeah.
who, what was it? Was it the
You
Gunslinger?
Yeah, it was Gunslinger
I
Spawn.
think I'd found one of those, and he was like, "Hey, I'm really looking for one," and he agreed to a trade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what it was now. Do you?
You had the Target exclusive Gunslinger back when that was like the hottest thing,
Yeah.
and they don't. I don't think they got that in Canada, so he was
Mm-mm.
gonna trade you, I think, a sealed 80th Hulk and Wolverine 2-pack for that gunslinger.
Yeah, I think so. Was that it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was kind of going higher back then, though, right?
Right, because you had two of those that you were able to find. That this
Right,
was kind of like early in our collecting, so we didn't have what you see now. So we were kind of trying to buy those like hotter things to trade for the things we'd missed. And I
right.
think you traded one of your gunslingers for like three kind of mid-tier Build-A-Figures.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, so this guy agreed to it, and then we agreed to ship, and then he kind of did a whole like, oh, I couldn't ship today because, my wife's having a baby or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I think I was more committed to the deal because I was like, this is a good deal. And he agreed to it. We exchanged addresses, and he kind of had a standing in the group. So it's like, all right, man,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'll, ship to you and we'll trade. It's okay. Like when you get
Mm-hmm.
the hospital stuff figured out, whatever. And then, yeah, the weeks go by and he strings it along and then finally ends up um, being like, no, I'm just going to send your figure back. And then it's
Right.
well, that
But
kind
like
of
he
defeats
had
the whole
taken like a.
purpose of the trade because I held on to
Mm-hmm.
it. Or I had, no, he said to ship it loose. That was the thing, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I probably, in hindsight, probably should have been like, I don't know though. I mean, I guess it was early on and whatever.
Yeah.
So then I think I tried to get like admins involved, but it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Admins didn't really care too much.
yeah, unfortunately. And then I had one big lot that actually two lots, but both of them were goods and services. But one was a pretty big purchase, like a $600 lot
Wow.
that I had bought from him before, and I was like, okay, no problem. I still use goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, then he just like, and I think it was a guy that I got like a pretty big lot from him.
Wasn't it that
Like,
Smokey Joe guy? I don't know what his actual name was, but
no, it was another guy that I got like $1,000 lot from. I think it was, and then he delivered, and then we had the other deal, and then he just like disappeared. So I filed a claim, got all the money back. But I guess my question I was saying is like, if he gets that money, and then like he has the money, and then PayPal is like, that's goods and services, we're gonna refund you. Is that like PayPal just has like a slush fund to cover when you get ripped off, or
I think
do
it probably
they?
depends, or maybe it doesn't depend, but like, so for us, or at least for me anyway, when I'm buying action figures, I try to do everything through PayPal. So when I sell action figures, I keep that money in there so that when whatever, if my Big Bad Toy Store pile of loot converts, it just takes it out of my PayPal, and I don't have to, like, I've never really taken much out of my bank accounts to pay for toys. So if I would like send something, or if I tried to scam somebody and they filed a claim, it would just probably pull from my PayPal account.
Right.
But if they had
What
like
if you
emptied
already?
their account,
Yeah.
I would assume it would probably show like a negative balance for them, and then PayPal is
Pulls
probably
it
just
from their
covering
bank
that
account,
fee.
or
Possibly if they have it linked, which I would think you would have to, but then
don't you have to have a bank account to have a PayPal?
I think so, yeah. But then I don't know
Okay.
if it, like, if they would like pull everything out, cancel their thing, and like
Right. Well,
disconnect.
that was my other question: was does it ding negatively on your PayPal if someone files a claim against you and it's goods
Usually,
and services?
I think so, because I've had times where people have like they said they couldn't PayPal me or something, or they had to use a certain way, or some sort of like weird tweak that they were asking for. And I asked about it in the groups. I was like, "Hey, is this normal for people to be kind of doing this?" And they're like, "Oh, if they do that, it probably means that they've scammed somebody before, and they've had their account dinged so many times that like that it's really hard for them to do any more transactions
Okay.
because there's so many limitations put on them."
Gotcha.
But then, I mean, so when I've gotten scammed, it's been a few times. I mean, sometimes it's like I buy a lot, but then like I bought a lot of figures, and then like 6 or 8 of them weren't in there. And I was like, "Hey, where are these at?" And they're like, "Oh, it's all in there." I was like, "I guarantee it's not. I didn't lose 8 figures."
Yeah.
So then I like file a claim for just like partial amounts of the purchase. But then there's been other times where like I bought like a retro Green Goblin, and the guy just never sent it, and I messaged him a bunch of times, and you just send those screenshots to PayPal and they
Yeah.
reimburse you.
Yeah, that's what I would say is I mean, yeah, just as long as you have the screenshots,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that definitely helps to get the refund. But,
Yeah.
I mean,
There was
I
one.
haven't had any problems, I don't think, where they've been like, we're not going
I've
to give this
had.
to you, but
I
maybe.
think I had one, like another lot that I had purchased where there was a group of them missing, and I tried to file the claim for like a partial reimbursement. And since the guy had shown like the tracking that it was delivered, PayPal was like, "Oh
Mhm.
nope, sorry, this is delivered. You can't get your money back." And I was like, "But
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
I
it's
bought
not
like
all there.
100 things, and I got
Hmm.
85, and so it was a decent enough deal that I wasn't gonna like cause a huge issue with it." But then in other groups like the Mythic Legions Cabal, what's so funny, Jordan?
I'm just thinking about, you didn't do it that time, but
Not
Dakota,
that time.
to our
I
listeners, when he gets scammed, he will make sure your name is erased from the history books of Facebook groups.
I will
Didn't
scorched
you?
earth you out
Wasn't
of.
there a while, or there was like two or
Yeah.
three people in a row that just kind of were ripping you off, and you just they just got just blasted and taken
I
out of the
took them
groups.
off. Yeah. So I mean, even that too, because I mean, you want to help out your fellow collectors and stuff too, because like I felt like ripped off, so I wanted to like kind of get back at the guy, but
Right.
also I
Yeah.
don't want this guy that like scammed me to then go and scam the next guy and then scam the next guy.
Hmm.
So you post those same screenshots in the groups and you say, hey, like I bought this figure from this guy, they never sent it. So if you've got like if you think you've bought these figures from this guy too, you
Hmm.
may want to start filing your PayPal
Yeah.
claims
Because
because
how long do you have? Is it 3 months or
I think it's
90
90
days?
days for most things, and it might be different on different purchases, but I think usually for like a standard action figure purchase, it's that long.
Yeah.
But then in other groups, kind of like I've seen in the Mythic Legions Cabal, some Mezco and like statue groups, there's a lot of people that do friends and family,
Hmm.
because usually in those groups you're a little bit more active and like it's kind of a smaller, like there's
Yeah.
not as many people collecting Mythic Legions, so you kind of know the people in the group. So the first time I tried to buy a gauge reel back here, it was a pretty good
Hmm.
deal. I was like, hey, I'll take it. They're like, oh, cool. I take friends and family. I looked them up in the group and was like, oh, they've done things for like years in the group.
Hmm.
But I think their account had gotten hacked.
Mm.
So then whoever had their account was like, oh, send me the PayPal for this stuff. And I don't know if they just took from previous posts and like
Yeah.
put the prices up. So that one I paid friends and family for and then realized it was a scam. And I called PayPal and was like, hey, this happened. And like the person got hacked. So it's not like I was like I sent
Right.
money to somebody I trusted, but that person
Hmm.
wasn't actually that person.
Yeah. More
And they
of a
gave me like a
security thing.
refund within PayPal. So like whenever I made a purchase through PayPal, it would take out of that like credit. But I
Yeah.
don't think that doesn't happen very often. That's pretty rare. So usually you want to always go PayPal, friends and family. Then other times was the last one that I kind of went scorched earth on was Rob Putney. Throw out another name. He was one that like Jordan and I had done several trades and sales
Oh
with.
yeah.
I sent him some Mythic Legions, like I sent him Krampus and Headless Horseman,
Yeah.
and he was supposed to send me like a. I mean, he would always send us cash too, so that was kind of the thing. Was like Jordan and I were some of the only people he would do sales and trades with because we were the only ones
Yeah.
that would accept his cash because that's
I
pretty
definitely
sketchy
wouldn't
too.
recommend
Yeah,
doing too many
don't
cash deals, but we were
don't do
like,
that.
yeah, it was something where, I mean, delivered. I mean, he never
Right.
had ripped me off. I mean, like you said, it was kind of like, hey, I'll get this
Hmm.
to you when I can type thing. But
Right. So I had sent him all that stuff, and
yeah.
like I'd sent him. It was like he owed me a Quake figure because I would always try to get him to send me like a figure and the cash because I didn't want to just send me like cash in an envelope.
Envelope.
Exactly. So I'd be like, all right, send me Quake and then $120.
Yeah.
And then 7 months went by. He kept telling me like, oh, I got whatever issues. I can't get to the post office. But then I would also see him in the groups trying to make trades with other people. And I was like, that's enough. I'm done. So I posted all the stuff, and then now he's blocked me, and I'll probably
Didn't
never
he
get
say
that
he had
money.
like a toe infection or something?
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, if you see him in the groups, don't do trades with them. That's my advice.
PSA. Look
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
So
Well, and that's the hard part is like, there are people we know and like have come to trust who can be like, hey, can you hold these for me? Or like, hey, something came up.
Right.
So, at least for me, there are circumstances where if you know the person, that's can be different, of course, than like, first time deal with somebody. They say, "Oh, I, got hit by a train yesterday or something."
Shot
those.
in the chest.
Well, you know what I'm saying, with things that are like really.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have had situations come up sometimes where I'm like, not that bad, but like, hey, I was supposed to ship today. Give me a day or two.
Right.
Like me, those are different than
Right.
the extent
7 months of
yeah.
Because like I mean, Jordan's sitting on some Mythic Legions for me, but like obviously Jordan and I are pretty good, and like we can have things for each other.
Yeah.
Even like I'll have stuff on hold for like Lewis, who's got like another like smaller group, or Wesley.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between those guys are like they will actually send me like partial payments for their holds, or like especially Wes will constantly be like, "Oh, I'm trying to get you the money, like it's coming soon." And it's like that's way different than what like Rob was doing, where it was like I would go a whole month and he'd just be like ghost me. So keep an eye out for those. Try not to get scammed. And yeah, the best way to avoid the scams is PayPal friends and family.
Yeah.
Trades.
Wait, not friends and family.
Not friends and family. Do not take that advice. Scratch that from the record.
That was a test.
Goods and services. If you pay friends and family, you are risking getting scammed.
Yeah, even the whole like, I don't want to pay the fee, man. It's like, dude, it's like $1.50.
Right.
I've had some like that where it's like $1.10, and it's like, I just can't pay those fees. It's like, well,
if that's the case, if you find that in the groups, I mean, I don't know, some people do that, but that even just annoys me, where it's like, if you can't take the goods and services, like if you're just like, oh, I want to avoid the taxes, like charge a little more for your figure, and like, then it's not a problem. But
because then you have like a fake deal where it's like, oh, it's this deal. Oh, well, it's friends. It's like, well, okay, but you're just basically expecting me to take the risk of it being a good deal and it just working out. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So unless you've done, and even if you've done, like I said, with the gauge reel, like they had done several deals, they had lots of references, but they had gotten hacked. So you probably should just lean friends and family, unless you like Jordan and I are going to do, did I just say friends and family again?
Yep. Dakota is trying to sabotage. I don't know what he's got up his sleeve, but if Dakota asks you friends and family, trust me, guys, it's fine.
Right.
I'm not worried about it at all.
if you're gonna have to just like keep an eye out for me the rest of the podcast, because for some reason I can't get it right.
Well, yeah, and the other thing with trades, you can always ask for references. I mean, I have like a bunch of screenshots of my references that I keep handy just for when people ask for that.
Right.
Some people like to post in the group, say, hey, reference check for so-and-so. I'm usually okay if someone can like show me a reference.
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3, or like, hey, contact so-and-so. I think that's always a safe bet too.
Right.
But like you said, if someone's like, oh, I just joined yesterday and here's a great trade, you want to make it? It's like,
yeah. In those cases, I would usually, like if it's me trying to do that trade, I've got tons of references. I'll be like, hey, look at this awesome podcast I have. This is also a pretty good reference. I've talked to Todd McFarlane. But then if I would usually have that person send me the figure first, and then I'll send them the figure, and then I'll say, hey, like, since this was a good trade, you can put me down as a reference. If you want to trade more in the groups, like send them my way, and I can tell them about this interaction that we had. So that's kind of how I try to bridge those. But with trades, you're always just kind of at the mercy of the other person. And I've kind of thought that since the beginning. I like to lean towards like having a little faith in humanity, of like, this person's not just out to get me. Yeah. So and it depends though. Like if I'm going to trade for like a Frogman, I've got faith in humanity. If I'm going to trade my HasLab Galactus for something, I may have a little less faith in humanity. So, everything's kind of on that scale, but you do have to kind of watch out.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I think that's a good assessment. And at the end of the day, it's like up to you what you're comfortable with, because I've gotten some good deals through trades that if I had been like maybe scrutinized more, it might not have worked out. So it's, like you said, it's kind of a toss-up in what you're comfortable with, I guess. And but yeah, sometimes I would say just always look out. Yeah, make sure you're not doing friends and family for the most part. And then, yeah, just look out for things that seem too good to be true, I guess, because those are usually, for me, the telltale signs.
Yeah.
But then you can also tell through, like, chats, I feel like, when they're really, like, I don't know how you feel about that, but there's sometimes a certain way of communicating that's like, this seems...
It's always like, hey, bro, send me the money now, bro.
Hey, bro,
man,
send
come
me
on.
now. Hey, man, now. Come on, dude.
Bro,
good deal.
bro. So, yeah, those, and that is a good point too, is if it's too good to be true, and then if they're very like insistent about like friends and family, because typically if somebody was like, I only accept friends and family, and then you're like, oh, I want to pay goods and service, then they would probably just like end that conversation pretty soon, because they're like, I'm not going to get this sale. But if they're like, no, send me like partial friends and family, and then like that's another big red flag if they're trying to be like, oh, just like send me a little bit, and then the other part can be something else, because then they're going to scam you for some, and then they'll have to get. So
I just set up PayPal, so I can't do goods and services.
Yeah, exactly. That is not the case ever. So don't fall for that one. Venmo has purchase protections, but I would always I lean towards PayPal every time. Don't do Zelle, don't do Cash App. Those are good ways to get scammed. So hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you like and share and subscribe, and don't get scammed, and stay strong. Gray one? Oh, nice.
Yes. I don't know why I didn't just go like that. I was like, where the fuck is it?
That's funny.